Welcome to the Domonique Foxworth Show presented by Allstate. I'm Domonique Foxworth, and I'm sitting here with Charlie Kravitz, and we got a show coming up. We're going to talk about the tiers of these teams that are in the league at the midway point, but I feel like we got to change the tiers, preemptively change the tier of the Green Bay Packers after the way that Jordan Love and Tucker Kraft and Micah Parsons just took care of the Steelers.
So we have Bill Barnwell on the show, and because this was an interesting week of NFL football where there weren't as many marquee games, we decided to tier the teams who could potentially win the Super Bowl. And I feel like I should have a notes app apology.
A pre-apology?
Yeah. You're about to hear these things. I am not the person that I was when I made these statements, and I do not endorse the things I said about the Green Bay Packers just being a theoretically great football team.
I appreciate that declaration or that disclaimer.
And I know Bill's not here to hear this, but we've bumped the Packers up several tiers so Bill and his ilk can be happy. Yeah. So what you're about to hear, I'm sorry, but also the Green Bay Packers look really good. Jordan Love in the second half against Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers went off. At one point, he was 13 for 13. At the time we're taping this, there's 4 minutes left. They're up by 16 points. Jordan Love, 360 yards, 3 touchdowns. Tucker Kraft also went nuts. And this is the alluring part of this Packers team, is it not? That when things click, when it's not just theoretical, they have every piece that can be put together and they can be a dominant football team.
Yeah, I mean, and Tucker Kraft feels like he's a primetime player. Like last time he played against the Commanders in primetime. He went off again. He's in primetime going off on National Tight Ends Day. And I think the point of the Packers are one of those teams that looks really attractive because you see them do everything that you need to do to win a championship, but they never do it all at the same time. Except for tonight, they did it all at the same time against an opponent that is a legitimate team. Like the Steelers aren't as good on defense as I think most people anticipated that they would be, but it's not like they're beating up on bad teams, or they weren't beating up on a bad team tonight. Like they seemed like they were in complete control of this from in the second half on, and that offense has the ability with all the playmakers that they have. And again, this is the theory thing about the Packers that we do all offseason, where it's like they have a good rushing attack, they have a good line, and they have weapons everywhere.
Yeah.
Tucker Kraft just emerged as another one of those weapons more recently. But yeah, it seems like they have the components when Jordan Love is playing well to win just about any way on offense.
And we should mention also Christian Watson's not a number one receiver, but he's back, and when he's out there, he clearly adds an element to their offense in a vertical game. He had 4 receptions, 85 yards. Micah Parsons, on a day where Myles Garrett had 5 sacks, Micah Parsons bull rushing a triple team to get one is up there for one of the coolest sacks of the day. And that tandem with Rashawn Gary continues to be incredibly dynamic. Gary had 2 more sacks as well. So they're meeting at the quarterback quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you used to make fun of me because I had a tweet one time that said Micah Parsons is terrifying, and I feel like I don't have any other words for it. Like it's so cool to watch the way that they use him. They put him in the inside on serious passing downs, and which is counterintuitive. I wouldn't anticipate that. Like I would guess I'd say put them on the edge so that you could put pressure on the defense and force them to make a decision. But I guess on the inside you can't really predict where to slide the protection, so it gives them a little bit of advantage. But it still ends up with Micah Parsons drawing a great deal of attention and still somehow impacting the play outside of just drawing the attention. He still beats the block. So yeah, it makes life easier for everyone else. And their defense last year was good. Yeah. But the one thing it was missing was a consistent pass rush, and they got a one-man pass rush shows up every single Sunday and makes this team pretty damn scary.
We asked last week if the Eagles should play as a pass-first team. Mm-hmm. And the consensus from you and Bill was no, because they should chase the higher ceiling of what they were when they got Saquon rolling. Of course, that turned to be very prescient today as what the Eagles did on. But I'm going to ask the same question. Are the Packers considerably scarier when they're a pass-first team, knowing the ceiling that Jordan Love has? It's a different...
I mean, I think the Packers are definitely scarier with Jordan Love, allowing Jordan Love to be unleashed. But it reminds me a little bit of early stage Josh Allen, where for Jordan Love, and I know he hasn't had the turnover problems that he had at the beginning of his career, but it's also because, like Josh Allen, they shifted to a more run-centric offense. So, like, if they believe that they're now at a point, or he's at a point, where they don't need to protect him with the running attack, then of course, yeah. And I mean, even for the Eagles, I know that wasn't the question. I think, yeah, if you feel a level of confidence in the passer and the decision making to avoid the turnovers, because that's when the Eagles switched also, was Jalen Hurts was turning the ball over too much early last season. And so I think this is the time, certainly, to turn up the dial on the aggressiveness on the offense and see if that's something that you can sustain, because of course it's a much more potent, much more dangerous, much scarier offense if you have a quarterback that you fully trust and can reach the ceiling that Jordan Love can reach.
Should we talk to Bill Barnwell?
Yeah, let's holler at our man Billy. Off top, I think our buddy Bill Barnwell is going to get this question. Who were the Kansas City Chiefs before they moved to Kansas City and became the Chiefs? Play music.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.
Welcome to the Domonique Foxworth Show, presented by Allstate. Throw your hands up. We are here to recap. Well, we're actually not going to recap Sunday. We're going to do something a lot more fun, right, Charlie?
I mean, we're gonna talk about the games within the concept pitched to us by Bill Barnwell, our guest here today, our co-host here today, which is we're roughly halfway through the season, so we're going to go through teams of tiers, and within those tiers, we'll talk about some of the teams that were notable in play today, because this was a lackluster week of NFL football Sunday. Is that fair to say?
It was nasty football. We had one game that was decided before Sunday night. One game decided by less than 10
It
points,
lacked a little luster.
It's an NFL record.
I mean, it's still awesome. It's still football. It's like, particularly if you watch any college football the day before, you're like, thank God the NFL started this. We have a watchable product. But, sometimes you have this. You can't bat 1,000. And this week, the NFL, it's still better than every other sport.
Batted like 111.
Yeah.
with backup quarterbacks in like every game in the 1 o'clock window.
So before we get to Charlie's tiers, that Bill had this idea, but Bill only had this idea because he loves when you do wacky tiers, so he can then rip them apart and be very smart and make fun of you. But before we get there, Bill, do you have an answer to the question? Or do you want
I have no idea.
I assume that you would know that the Kansas City Chiefs used to be the Dallas Texans.
Ooh.
And then
I don't like it when you have like weird, like quasi similar teams to actual NFL teams. Can you imagine if you went to Jerry Jones today and you were like, "Hey Jerry, we're gonna restart the Dallas Texans"? He would sue your so far into oblivion.
Yeah, he would definitely sue you. I feel like he's been sued so often that maybe he would not want to sue other people, but he probably, it's just the way that he operates.
No, he'd get litigious on there so quickly. All right, first tier. Ooh, they got Patrick some toys. This is a tier by itself.
That's the name of the tier?
That's the name of the tier. The Kansas City Chiefs. They don't play till when you listen to this is Monday. They're playing tonight. They're going to boat race by Washington Commanders in Arrowhead without Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, throw the records out. I've seen enough. Patrick Mahomes with competent line playing, good receivers, and I'm back in.
It's hard to argue with that analysis because I think most people see it the same way. Especially when there's not like the Eagles of last year not threatening on the horizon. Mm-hmm. There's no one out there that feels like a complete team that can challenge. And when there's no like complete team, you look at like the track record of the Chiefs with and without weapons, and then you see how they've looked the last few weeks with the ability to move the ball and score and have explosive plays. It's going to be hard for us or for me to imagine. They're probably going to end up with home field advantage, to imagine someone knocking them off in the playoffs.
Did we not just see them lose to the Jags?
Yep.
3 weeks ago on Monday Night Football? Did
but
that
they look
not
good.
happen?
The offense look good.
I appreciate you trying to make the conversation about the Chiefs more interesting than it actually is. But I'll fire back at you. Yeah, rather than responding with the question, how you feel about the Chiefs? For real. Like, how you really feel about the Chiefs? Yes, they lost to the Jags. Yes, Patrick threw an interception, pick six in the red zone. Yes, that's true. That's a good question for you to ask. But You're not here asking the question.
I forgot about that. That was Devin Lloyd, Defensive Player of the Year week.
Oh yeah,
that was a fun week.
It was a good week, and that was also Trevor Lawrence, the most, I guess, embarrassing game-winning play ever. The slip and fall, stumble, and break into the end zone touchdown. And we also spent that
Jags
week
thing ever.
We spent that week talking about Chris Jones loafing.
The loaf!
What a time!
And then he had post-loaf clarity the last couple weeks.
Anyway, back to Bill Barnwell. Yes, they did lose to the Jags, but how you really feel about the Chiefs?
I said the same thing about the Chiefs all year.
Right.
They're going to win fewer games than they did last year, and they are going to win the Super Bowl. I have said that since week 1, when you guys were trashing them after week 2 and saying the Chiefs are done. These are not your daddy's Chiefs. This is a flawed football team. I said, wait till they get those receivers back. You tried to put me on the spot. I definitely maneuvered my way off the spot. It was the most athletic thing I've ever done in my whole life to avoid answering that question in week 2. And now I feel great. But just going to say, after they presumably blow out the Commanders tonight, they play the Bills in Buffalo next week. If they lose to the Bills, do you still feel the same way about the Chiefs based on what you saw from the last couple of weeks? I would say the answer is probably no.
Yeah, I mean, I think it matters how they look going forward. But I think that the thing about the Chiefs is they have such a track record, and we know that when it doesn't look perfect, they find a way. It's looked perfect in the last few weeks. So, like, they've earned our respect, and I think that's the reason why you were kind of like, wait till you see it. I just wanted to see it, and I've seen it for multiple weeks. So, yes, they can have a bad week, and I think it depends on how they lose. The reason why they lose, if everyone's healthy, if it's like fluky stuff, and, of course, Charlie's favorite term that I think we're going to have to retire, the playoffs, 1 game sample. So anything could happen. However,
that's been your reasoning to defend Dak Prescott and Lamar for like 7 years. Small sample, throw it out.
Never said it. Not once in my life have I said 1 game sample.
Sample's not big enough. Throw it out.
Oh, Charlie's mad because we caught him. Charlie has a couple cliches that he loves. They're the worst.
No, honestly, I'm not going to take the full bait.
Oh, in a vacuum. Charlie loves to put in a vacuum. Let's get out the vacuum, guys.
So I'll say this, Bill. You asked if they lose to the Bills, will it really? Yeah. Of course, it's how it looks. Like there's a bunch of stuff that can happen, but like also they lose to the Bills in the regular season and then beat them in the playoffs every single year. So
it's true.
It would have to be something where it looks like the team is completely inferior, or the offense isn't rolling the way it was.
Charlie, all I'm saying is this. We feel that good about them. And they beat the Lions, who are a very good team, and they manhandled the Lions. Great win. They beat the Raiders last week. They're going to beat the Commanders with Marcus Mariota at quarterback this week. After that, Bills, Broncos, Colts. 3 teams who at least are legitimate on one side of the football. If they go 3-0 over that stretch, I'm with you 100%. They're the class of the league. Right now, I feel like they're closer to the pack than maybe you're giving them credit for.
Well, you know, the Raiders did beat potential Hall of Fame quarterback Drake May this season. So let's not.
That's when Brock's knee worked. The entire Raiders season broke the week Brock Bowers' knee stopped working.
It's exactly right.
They didn't beat the Raiders. There's another word for what they did to the Raiders. That's the thing. It's like I know that I get it when the wins that you have are against like not great opponents. That's one thing. But when you have more points than they have plays, like that for me is a different type of winning. So I get it. These the pelts that they have on the wall this season are not all that impressive.
Very impressive 1 game sample from the Chiefs. I think we can all agree.
Thank you. Next tier.
These teams could win the Soupy, and no one would be surprised.
The Soupy.
I would like to. I regret this tier discussion. We should have got some edit rights on the tier names before we got on the air.
Can you take a 20 to say that? Can we throw Soupy in the trash along with 1 game sample size? Can that go with it? The Soupy.
Do you want me to rename the first tier? Because I thought
Okay, what do you got it?
I had it. They got Patrick some toys. I should have called it Daddy's Home.
No, it's smart because now you made the first one sound better.
Yep.
You got it. Yep. All right.
You just brought Russell Wilson in for a play to show us how bad it can be. And you brought us back out with Jackson Dart.
I would like to say, ooh, they got Patrick some toys. It's back atop the leaderboard.
That's spicy. Okay, so in this tier is
Soupy.
The Bills, the Eagles, the Lions, and the Rams. And I think this is a really interesting tier, and we should talk somewhat. I mean, we've talked a little bit about the Bills, but let's start with them. They destroyed the Panthers 40-9 in a game that we thought could potentially be interesting because of the Panthers running game and the Bills run defense. Yeah. Bryce Young was not in there, but the Bills really took care of business. Did this quell any of your concerns about the injuries, the defense, or what you thought could be issues for the Bills, or was it more of a write-off because this Panthers team, without Bryce Young, is just not that good, maybe?
I mean, it's an impressive win for the Bills, who I feel like have been a little down the last few weeks. I think that I was more impressed with the Bills' ability to run the ball as effectively as they did against a Panthers defense that's pretty good against the run. That impressed me more. Like I'm not walking away from this game and them shutting down Rico Dowdle with Andy Dalton at quarterback, saying that I know Rico's been great, but like this does not feel
Dowdle-sance.
Yes, this does not feel like this is a new chapter for the defense, to me at least. And maybe they'll do what they do every year, where all of a sudden, towards the end of the year, they play a little bit better. But it's like turnover focus. But anyway, Bill, what do you think?
That's the thing. No, I agree with that. The turnovers were the thing I was going to mention because they didn't have a multi-turnover game all year. This was the team that led the NFL in turnover rate in 23 and 24. They were not forcing turnovers all season. This week, they had a couple fumbles that maybe went their way here and there, but you force a bunch of turnovers, even if it is against Andy Dalton and the Carolina Panthers. They have more pieces up front. Michael Hawk came back after being suspended for the first 6 weeks of the year. They did lose Ed Oliver, which is a bummer for them up front, but that's sort of like proof of concept for me. Like the way this team is going to win is their defense is not that great, but they're going to force turnovers. They're going to give Josh Allen some short fields, and they have a second weapon they can work with on offense. I think they have to realize that weapon's not a receiver. That weapon is James Cook. And so whether it's James Cook in the passing game, whether they're running the football effectively, there has to be something to take some of the pressure, some of the workload off of Josh Allen, and James Cook was that guy in this game.
So he 216 yards in this game. So if you're the Bills, do you get aggressive at the trade deadline? I'm going to throw out some names and would you prioritize offense or defense? You're talking about needing another weapon. Right. Do you try and get someone like AJ Brown, whose house is on the market in Philadelphia? Do you try and get someone like Azeez Al-Shaair, Jeffrey Simmons? Like, how aggressive are you willing to be?
I mean, AJ Brown.
By the way, none of these players might get traded. Like,
I was going to say, none of them. Al-Shaair seems like no chance that he would be available. Yeah. I guess the Simmons thing is possible because the Titans don't have anything to play for, and I think that would be, certainly something they should go after if that's a possibility. But I mean, the AJ Brown thing just seems fun. I mean,
it would be so fun.
It seems so fun, and it does. The offense. What did Josh Allen have to say? Like 160 passing?
Yeah.
Like the offense could be better and more explosive, especially through the air, as good as Josh Allen is and as good as he was with Stephon Diggs. I mean, that would be attractive. So, I think it does feel like they need something else. It probably is more useful to have Simmons than A.J. Brown, but A.J. Brown, you could just lean in on offense and score a lot of points maybe.
They could score a lot of points. They scored 40 points in this game without A.J. Brown and without really much of a passing game. I'll flip it forward. Did what you saw from the Eagles today make you think they could live without A.J. Brown and survive on offense?
So we were talking today that it feels like they're featuring Devontae Smith as their number one receiver right now in the offense.
I mean, AJ was out today, right?
But like, the last couple weeks, it's felt like that. And except
for the fact that on the most important play of the game against the Vikings, they went back to AJ Brown
because he's unguardable and he's a freak.
I mean, as good as Devontae is, AJ offers something else to the game plan that I think that you definitely would lose. So if you had a one game sample, you give me one of these receivers, I'd rather have A.J. Brown than Devontae Smith.
I think he's the better player,
but, I mean, he's not the younger player. And if they are, which I would assume that they're not planning on extending A.J. Brown one more time, and he's unhappy, then they should probably try to move him.
Yeah. And by the way, we did talk about that Vikings game. Devontae Smith in that game did have 11 targets, 183 yards, and a touchdown. So it's like...
Yeah, you're right. I removed my final play from the table and say, you're right. They targeted him a bunch more. He was the main person. All right, Bill, tell me why I'm wrong for considering trading AJ. Oh, I thought that I talked long enough to get you off of it. What was the question?
No. My memory, I'm like an elephant, baby. It's a trap up here. Do you think they showed you enough in this game against the Giants where they score 38 points?
No.
Saquon Barkley is back on track and then he gets hurt. Did they show you enough to think that they could move on from A.J. Brown and be fine?
No. I think A.J. Brown is a very special player in that offense. And I think when things break down, sometimes you have the option of throwing it over in that direction and he could shrug off 2 tackles and take it to the crib. Right. Without the explosive plays, and they had him back again today, the Saquon big explosive runs, without that consistently being there, like I like A.J. Brown more as a big play threat than anyone else on their offense. I wouldn't want to move on from him if they're serious about making a Super Bowl push this year. I assume that you would trade A.J. for picks. You wouldn't trade A.J. for somebody that could impact the roster this year.
By the way, incredible play by Jahan Dotson catching on that guy's head today for that touchdown. Not that matters, just worth noting. That was an unbelievable play on the outside from an Eagles receiver. I was shocked when it was number 2 former Commander Jahan Dotson. One thing in the Eagles team, this game obviously had the Scatabo injury, which sucked the life out of the Giants. It was a huge bummer.
Sure.
It also had what felt like every week we're gonna have a tush push moment where it feels like that this play is going to be litigated.
Tush push fumble.
Yeah, the tush push fumble that actually sort of flipped the game because it immediately led to the Saquon touchdown outside of the backfield on that swing pass. It was like a 14-point swing. Which should have been the Giants' ball.
Come on. There was no way the Giants... That's a disrespect to I hate momentum. That's a disrespect to the idea of a momentum swing. The Giants could have got 4 tush push fumbles in the game. They were not winning. They were outplayed off the field by the Eagles throughout this entire game. They were hopeless in this game.
Either way, the way the game goes is very different. If you have a turnover, you go from having a turnover to having a touchdown. I'm not sure. I still agree with you that the Eagles probably end up winning because they're better. But it'd be an entirely different game if they get that turnover there. But I think the point of it is
still playing at that point. They could have been pounding the rock.
Sure.
The tush push though, I don't know. I don't feel like there's much to say about this particular. That one's obvious. It's a fumble, and the refs blew that. That's not like the Eagles.
But that's the problem.
That was because of the tush push, though. It was a fumble on a play that
I
got
just
extended.
think they cannot officiate the tush push. That's what's come this year. They can't officiate false starts. They can't officiate when forward progress starts. And it's already a cheat code play because they're so good at it. And if you can't even officiate it where the guys are lining up when they're launching off the ball, that becomes incredibly problematic. Can I have a brass tacks question about the Eagles?
Oh,
do you really believe in this team this year? Because they still don't look. You do, Bill. You're nodding.
Yeah. They scored 38 points in this game. They scored a bunch last week. Jalen Hurts was 15-20 for 179 and 4 touchdowns. They had 2 runners go over 100 yards. They looked much better against the Giants with Jalen Carter on the field.
Yes.
They're thinner. They have to be a little more precise. They have to have their stars healthy. And if Saquon's out for any period of time, that's going to really suck. Their offensive line's banged up, and that cost them a couple stretches here and there. They really missed Carter in the last game against the Giants. I think that's why they lost that game, frankly. But I do think they're going to be in really good shape. And I if anybody, we talked about the Bills. I don't think Brandon Beane's making a trade for a star receiver, especially after last year when they trade for Amari Cooper and ends up being a total disaster for them. If there's anybody who's going to make a big trade and can make a big trade that works, is it not Howie Roseman at the deadline?
Yeah, projecting a potential trade and that you're assuming that they acquire something. It's not them sending AJ Brown away, right?
They're going to get something to bring in with AJ Brown.
Yeah, I think that's fine, but we don't have any rumors or anything to assess right now, so maybe that happens. I don't know what you've been hearing, but I think that what the problem is we're comparing the Eagles to last year's Eagles, right? Mm-hmm. Is I think if we didn't have that to compare to, I would feel a lot better about this Eagles team and the direction that they were going and the games that they just put up than given the fact that what we saw last year. I think it sounded like in Charlie's question was implied also that he doesn't feel all that great about them. I think Charlie and I and anyone else who feels a little trepidatious about the Eagles has to wipe last year's Eagles from our memory because this is a good team and they're winning games and they're playing well and they have talent. But we expected to look like it did last year, and that just those pieces aren't still there.
This is a real G's moving silence like lasagna situation for Howie Roseman.
Wayne references.
There is not going to be.
Watch versus.
There is not. Yeah, this is not going to be a situation where there's lots of rumors in a trade. He's going to make a trade before the deadline. This is a roll this tape back. Everyone loves rolling tape back on this show now. Suddenly, bring it back at the trade deadline. Howie Roseman's going to do something.
It would be if AJ Brown is on the Bills and we roll this back. It would be so funny.
It would be very funny.
That's right.
Also,
That's right.
I feel like I have to explain because it seemed like no one knew about this Versus this weekend other than me. So there was a Versus, return of Versus. You remember from the pandemic when we had all those Versus. They brought it back. It was Cash Money versus No Limit. Apparently, I'm the only man on earth who watched it. Lil Wayne wasn't there, of course, because he's too big for that now. But Snoop Dogg made a surprise appearance.
This next tier is they probably won't win the Super Bowl, but they have a decent defense, a great coach, and a QB who could black out for a month.
Ooh.
The New England Patriots. All right. Now get your hands up for the New England Patriots.
It's even better. Throw your hands up.
It's time for the good hands moments presented by Allstate. You're in good hands when you have Drake May. Yeah, they were playing the Browns. Okay. Yeah, Myles Garrett had 5 sacks in this game, but Drake May balled out again. He is unbelievable every single week. And you know it when you see it. The dude's having the breakout. We've talked about how hard it's going to be for someone to elevate into that top tier of quarterbacks in the NFL. It seems like we're seeing it before our eyes in Drake May. And I said that this team is in this tier, but what do you see as the ceiling for this Patriots team?
I think it's fair to say that they're like a fringe Super Bowl contender. It'd have to be like a really magical run similar to what the Commanders had last year, but they're better than the Commanders because it feels like they actually have a defense that's pretty versatile. Like they can switch up their styles in a way that I think can accommodate just about any opponent. So their defense could keep them in some games, and Drake May is playing incredibly well. 5 sacks? It's too many sacks. However, I mean, for one man, that's too many sacks. I mean, Myles Garrett is incredible.
That's what the Browns told Myles Garrett when they benched him late in the game when he was trying to get a 6th sack, and you could see his reaction to that comment.
Oh, man. But, yeah, I mean, I think this is the third tier?
This is the third tier. Yeah. This is the second tier. And by the way, we should point this out. We did not do an extended discussion on the Lions and Rams. They didn't play today. Yeah. I think they're fine to be in the second tier along with the Bills and the Eagles. Sure. But we moved past them because there was less new information on them.
Right.
Continue with the Patriots.
I mean, I think considering them a third tier team is probably fair. It would be like a miraculous run, but it's not unimaginable. Like they have a couple of things that you need. Number one, a quarterback that is really good and getting better. And they have a defense that I think, and I mean, they ran the ball incredibly well today with Travion Henderson. Like they have a lot of the foundations, and if things work out well for them, I think they could make that run. But I wouldn't pick them above any of the teams that you had above them.
I believe in Drake May. I think he's playing great football. Clearly, he's a guy who they trust in their offense to make theirs in any situation, which is really hard to come by in the NFL. Pretty much the teams ahead of you are the few of the teams who feel that way, and very few of the teams below this tier are teams who have quarterbacks they really trust in those spots. I'm just going to say it. These are the teams they've beaten this year. Dolphins, Panthers, Bills, impressive win against the Bills, no doubt, Saints, Tennessee, and now the Cleveland Browns. And they're going to keep racking up those wins because they get the Falcons, the Jets, the Joe Burrow-less Bengals, the Giants,
stealth
the Jets,
1 seed
Dolphins
contender
on the stretch. They're going to win a lot of games, but we're talking about the Super Bowl. We're not talking about who's going to be the 1 seed in the AFC. And outside of that one game against the Bills where they forced 3 turnovers, I'm at least a little skeptical they're going to be this good against real competition.
Fair point. I
agree.
Most of the time,
most
of the time you push back in a way that still leaves me some room to stand on the ground that I was on before. Not this time. I think you're right. I think I might have got a little too high on that Drake May supply. And this
you saw those skis?
Yeah.
Those skis, and he just flew up a little too high on them.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. But they could get better. They're a young team. They get better as the season goes along.
They're fun.
And their numbers are going to
watch every week.
Continue to get better when they play all these bad teams. But yeah, they will. It seems like they will make the playoffs. I think they're going to win their division. That's me out on a limb.
They're going to beat the Bills for the division, you think?
Yep. That's my belief.
Okay. By the way, speaking of AJ Brown teams, this would be a fun one. Putting him on the Patriots.
AJ Brown and Stephon Diggs in the same offense.
Yeah.
Oh, so much fun. They would cancel each other
out. And Kayshon Boutte.
Oh.
It's a lot.
Oh gosh.
But do you think Drake May has a real shot to win the MVP? I kind of think it's going to be Mahomes, but feels like Drake May's 2.
I mean, Jonathan Taylor. I feel like the thing about MVP is it feels like it's also it has to be your second really good year. Like you kind of have to establish yourself.
Not true.
who else is, most of the time, it's people who have already established themselves and then have a good year. Like, it's so rare that
Lamar won in his second year. Mahomes.
Right.
Carson Wentz was going to win it. I think that second year before he got hurt.
Carson Wentz was going to win it.
Yeah.
He didn't win it.
Yeah.
But he got hurt.
He tore his ACL.
I don't like it. It counts against my argument, so I don't like it. I think you named a couple guys in the history of the league. It happened a few times. I still stand by my statement.
It's on like the last 7 years.
I don't like it. I'm not backing off of 2 points. So let's whatever.
I don't know. Your theory might suck.
You say whatever you want. No. Theory is fantastic. I stand by it. No one comes out of nowhere to win the MVP.
50% of the MVPs come out of nowhere.
I'm standing by this one. I can't back off of 2 points in a row. I don't have anything to defend it, but I'm standing by it because I got to. And it doesn't matter.
Drake May has a shot, but he's going to have to be the 1 seed. I think that has to be a prerequisite. I don't think he's going to get it with an 11-win season where the Chiefs are ahead of them.
Save this tape. And at the end of the year, I want to see if Drake May won or not, and we'll see if I'm right or not.
That'll prove that you're right.
That will prove that I'm right.
By the way, I need to read this quote from the hit piece that Tyler Dunn had on Caleb Williams.
Yes.
This was in it about the Bears scouting Drake May. Eventually, the GM set the clicker down. This guy, he repeated. Makes my chest tight watching this. Case closed. May was stacked out of the first round. They made fun of him, says one Bears scout in the room. They laughed. The GM laughed Drake May off the screen and cut the tape. That's tough.
Ryan Poles gets to work real early. That is, that's all you can say. Yeah, Drake May is a lot better than Caleb Williams, huh?
Next tier.
Yeah, I can't add anything to that.
The football people, and I'm talking everyone, not like nerds, jocks, football luminaries, stat people. Keep telling me this team can win the Super Bowl, but I don't see it. It's the Green Bay Packers.
They got their own tier too?
They're in their own tier. They're playing. We're taping this at halftime, or now it's the third quarter. 16-14 Steelers at this point. And look, I'm going to make a prediction. The Packers are going to scuffle their way through this game and win by like 4 or something. And then we're going to be like, oh, it's still the Packers. But it's like, they're the theoretical best team ever.
I mean, it seems like that's a Packers tradition. Like, I mean, goes back to Aaron Rodgers' days where there been really great teams that we thought were going to. But, I mean, I guess it's not fair. The Aaron Rodgers teams, I feel like, actually put it together for extended periods of time in the regular season. It would be the playoffs where they would fall short. This team has yet to, with the exception of the way they beat the Commanders down, this team has yet to put it all together offensively and defensively and just be dominant.
Week 1?
Yeah.
It's Lions and Commanders, first 2 weeks of the season.
And
then they said they were going 17-0, remember?
Yeah. I do remember
since
that.
week 2, nope. First 2 weeks of the year, yeah. I just, like, we've seen them do all the little components at different times.
Yeah.
So I think just knowing they have that in them is exciting to me. But you're right. Like, would I want to, and I'm going to have to because I picked them to win the NFC. Am I going to want to have to watch them win 3 playoff games? Absolutely not. That's going to suck having to root for them to win all those games because the Lions are much more consistent. A bunch of other teams in the NFL are much more consistent. I just don't buy that they can pull it off 3 games in a row, even though I think they can do it in a 1-game sample.
There we go. I wouldn't disagree. I mean, these are your tiers, so we can't argue with you.
You really sold me on that. One game sample makes a lot of sense to me now if they put it all together.
I don't I don't want to argue with you with your tier because they're your tiers, but I feel like separating them and the Patriots is weird to me because like I feel like they have as good a chance as the Patriots, right?
It's about the funny tier names.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. My bad for taking you seriously. Apologize. I should have known better when we started with ooh, and then we followed it with soupies. And I'm having a rough show, guys. Having a rough show. I've been wrong twice. And I took Charlie. I made a mistake.
It's like ripping the mascot's head off at Disney World. Like this is the bit.
You see when Cam got into it with the mascot? That was fun. You haven't seen that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, never mind then. Cam Newton got into it.
I was about to say Cam Ward, Cam Newton.
Nah,
Cam Ward.
It's believable. Cam Ward getting into it with the mascot.
That's not believable.
The mascot might have a good shot based on what I've seen from Tennessee so far this year.
Yeah, that would be a win.
All right, the next tier is when the clock strikes midnight, we're going to feel so dumb for believing in these QBs.
Oh, okay.
This tier is the Seahawks, Broncos, Colts, and Steelers. One of these things is not like the other, but it's all the quarterbacks.
All right, we gotta zero in on the Colts immediately.
Yeah. And so, by the way, Seahawks obviously did not play this weekend, so we're breezing past them. We'll come back to the Broncos. So the Colts 38-14 over the Titans. Daniel Jones and them boys rolling with Jonathan Taylor too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it has
Danny
to be,
got some new toys.
I think it's the other way around. I think the new toys got Danny is what happened because those players were always there and they just were kind of being held back by the offense not being consistently run and passes being accurately thrown. But Jonathan Taylor, like I think if there's going to be someone in them boys, it's Jonathan Taylor before you get to Daniel Jones. The way that he's playing this season is incredible. He's doing similar to what Saquon was doing last year, where it feels like every game is an explosive run and it's instant offense. And then off of that, obviously the play action. I think this is, of course, we have seen Daniel Jones play well in the playoffs, but we haven't seen him play without this kind of dominant rushing attack. So I think that's why you have him in this clock strikes 12 tier. But I don't know. I kind of like him, believe in him. Him and the Seahawks. Like
they were actually initially in the second tier, but I thought they fit better.
It's all about. Let me explain something to you. The tiers are just about the names, man. It's just for fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to have it down here so that we could have the funny name about quarterbacks turning into pumpkins, right, Bill?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a writer. Sometimes I do stuff that's more fun for me than what's actually logical. The thing with these quarterbacks is, you don't want to have to be relying on them to single-handedly win you games, but some of them have more help than others. The Seahawks have Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's been the best receiver in football this year. The Colts have JT, where you don't need Daniel Jones to throw 45 passes in a game because you have the best running back in football who's playing. I mean, to me, I would have no issue with anybody picking him as MVP at this point of the season. That goes such a long way for you. The Colts have an excellent offensive line. The Seahawks, it's better than it was last year, but it's not that great. Yeah. The Broncos, it feels like you're relying more on Bo Nix to be the guy who is the focal point of the offense. They have guys who are playing well, but they don't have that, legitimate all-pro number 2 guy as part of the offense. And so that to me is the difference between, and who's the other team in this tier? Who's the 4th team?
The Steelers.
Okay, I'm not going to take this. I mean, what are we doing here, Charlie?
I actually didn't removing the walls of the bit. I didn't know where to put them, and I thought it was funny to put Aaron Rodgers with Bo Nix, Daniel Jones, and Sam Darnold.
Super Bowl MVP Aaron Rodgers,
4-time NFL MVP,
4-time NFL MVP Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Steelers.
They're up 19-14 now on the Packers.
Oh, they just
the theoretical Super Bowl champs.
Jeez, yeah.
How many field goals do you think you would need to win a Super Bowl from the Steelers? They kick like
from Boswell?
5 field goals during the playoffs. Yeah.
So Boswell's elite, but like if that's the case, just.
Oh, can I talk about the worst thing that happened this week? Mm-hmm. By the way, Broncos Cowboys.
Yes. Thank you, Bill.
Oh, this is about the attempt at altitude field goal. Okay, go ahead, Bill.
Brandon Aubrey, the best kicker in football, maybe the best kicker in NFL history, is playing in Denver for what might be the only time in his career. We don't know, maybe 8 years from now, Brandon Aubrey will get another shot to play in Denver. He is kicking out of his mind. He has incredible range at sea level. He's kicking in Denver. This is an opportunity to set an NFL record that might stand for 30 years. A 70-yard field goal is on the cards. A 75-yard field goal. You would at least be afraid if you're the Broncos and this was going to be a game-winning kick and Aubrey lines up from 75. You would at least be a little concerned.
We didn't get that opportunity.
They had a couple shots to try it in this game. Brian Schottenheimer punted on his own side of the field. Dak, the traitor, who I've defended for years, denied me the opportunity to see Brandon Aubrey magic by throwing a terrible interception up the seam against cover 2. I was furious. We're not going to get to see this again for almost a decade. It's like Interstellar, where we're all going to age 15 years before Brandon Aubrey gets a chance to do this again. Infuriating. Worst part of the Sunday to me. We need to hit some more of these tiers.
Yeah,
we're like 10 teams in.
Oh,
Well, we'll go faster. Do you have anything? Okay, we sped through the Broncos stuff. All right. Next here is injuries suck, man. It's the Bucs, Chargers, and Ravens. The Bucs and Chargers were off today. Or sorry, the Bucs were not off today. Yeah. But Chargers are off today. I do want to focus on the Ravens. The Ravens won today with Tyler Huntley against the Bears. Yeah. This was potentially season ending. Their defense looked a lot better. And the schedule really eases up. Is this the team that could be the biggest riser in my theoretical tier?
Yeah, I think that they could climb some of these tiers when we get closer to playoffs. I mean, they've had 2 weeks of good defense, and one was against the Rams, which is a much better offense than the Bears, even though the Bears run the ball very well. Tyler Huntley, obviously, this offense looks a lot more effective with Tyler Huntley than it did with Cooper Rush, but none of that matters. They needed to be able to steal a win or two in this Lamar-less period. I assume Lamar will be back, but maybe not. Maybe the Ravens will mess up the reporting again.
That's the thing I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
We're getting to the point now where it feels like something else is happening here. I don't mean like Lamar wants to get traded or something crazy like that, but I just mean like it felt like they were expecting Lamar to be back this week, and Lamar was not really close to being back. And these things can linger. Who knows if Lamar's going to be back next week or the week after? I don't think there's anything like people should be concerned about in terms of like a bigger story happening here. But I do believe that the timeline they had is off the table now.
I think you're right. The timeline they had is off the table, and you can't predict when he's going to come back. It seems pretty likely, though, that he was very close this week. But all that aside, I think what was slowing me down from having any faith in the Ravens, aside from the fact that they lost almost every game that they played, was how poor their defense was.
What?
Yeah, like the defense was really bad. Their offense was able to score. Even though it was inconsistent, they were able to put up numbers. The defense putting together back-to-back weeks of good play is encouraging, and them getting a little healthier on that side of the ball. So this feels like kind of a coin toss situation where like their season could go either way. It could continue to spiral out of control, or Lamar could come back, and then we're talking about this team with a lot more respect than I think we would right now. And they'd be a team that probably wouldn't win the Super Bowl, but still could do something in the playoffs.
Can I read you their upcoming schedule?
That's exactly what I was going to do, Charlie. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yep. At Dolphins, at Vikings, at Browns, versus Jets, versus Bengals, versus Steelers, at Bengals.
Ripping off some wins.
Yeah, these tiers are not very sensitive to the quality of opposition you play, so I suspect the Ravens might be climbing high up on these tiers too. I can't believe we believe in these guys, even though they do have a good quarterback. A new tier coming later on. We revisit these tiers before the start of the NFL postseason.
What do you think is more likely, though, especially after you've gone through that that gauntlet that they have coming up? What do you think is more likely, that they win the division and make the playoffs, or they win their division and make the playoffs, or they're out of the playoffs altogether?
They win the division. And I think that's even if Lamar misses a couple more games. I would be surprised if he played in the short week against the Dolphins, where you probably don't need him. You are not really getting a lot of practice time. You don't want to re-aggravate it. I would be shocked if he played against the Dolphins.
Really?
You ain't see what Tua did out there with his sunglasses and
with one eye?
Sweater.
No, he's wearing like his post-game press conference. He's wearing like a Snuggie.
Yeah, he had a fleece blanket over his shoulders and sunglasses. They put up 34 points. I don't know. I mean,
come on.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Be serious.
They're gonna beat the Dolphins.
Shouldn't Tua lean into this and put an eye patch on and just be extra sick as opposed to
Anthony
just
Richardson
having like pink eye?
Anthony Richardson has to put on the eye patch on the sideline.
No eye patches, please, for anybody.
All right, the next tier is just called 9 and 8, whatever. It's the 49ers, the Cowboys, who had this, we talked about them against the Broncos, where they seemed to be outmatched by the Broncos defense, and the Texans. The Texans defense is really good, and I feel like that's something that we should sit on for a second. Like I don't really know what to make of that team. Their offense is so limited. The offensive line is so bad. It feels like, I mean, Bill, you've talked about this on our show. You've written about it. That CJ Stroud has actually it looks like he's been failed by the system, and he's more skittish, and he's taken a step back from year to year. But what do you guys think about about their defensive performance and what that team can be?
I mean, I buy that they have a bunch of dudes who can take over games, right? Like if you think about, okay, outside of a quarterback, what's the one thing you can have that can win you a game against anybody, and it's a pass rush.
Yeah.
Like that is the one thing you can rely upon. And the Texans have two superstars on the edge, and Daniel Hunter and Will Anderson. They didn't have crazy sack numbers in this game, but they did get a ton of pressure on Mac Jones, and it led to interceptions. It led to missed throws. The Niners had they didn't have a first down, I think, until their 2-minute drill in the first half of this game. Like their defense, which is banged up, was on the field for the entire game, and they got exhausted as the game wore along. Like, I'm not saying the Niners are a great team. I think they're right to be in this tier. I don't know what they did to not deserve being in the injury suck tier, though. Like a team that's more banged up than anybody. Feels like they need to aspire to move one tier up. But
and up, that's my bad.
I mean, yeah, they're injured all the time though. So
I just feel like we're going to see this from the Texans a bunch, but I don't think I buy it for them through 4 postseason games. So I think they're appropriately in the 9-8 tier.
I just want to say how fun they are to watch play defense. I mean, in a league where I think and I'm guilty of this also, we are, whether a game is fun or not is contingent on how many points are scored or how many passing yards are completed. There is something about watching this defense play that they just swarm to the ball and they're aggressive. They have great corners in the pass rush. It's just fun watching how aggressive and violent this defense is. So they're a team that I would root for, and I think that they could knock somebody off in the wild card round, which is what they did last year. They could get a wild card win because I think Stroud is still good. He's been failed by the system.
You saw that game against the Chargers last year. They were terrible in the first half on offense, couldn't do anything. Defense kept him in the game, and then Stroud got hot, and that swung the game in the second half of that game.
But yeah, I guess you're right. This is not a team that's going to make a run for the Super Bowl, but they sure is fun as hell to watch play defense.
There was a moment last week when they were playing, I think it was Seattle, right? They played Seattle last week. Sam Darnold scrambled out of bounds, and Azeez Al-Shaair was out of bounds, and I'm like, oh no. Oh, this is just like this is a horror movie happening. And of course, Azeez Al-Shaair had to commit a late hit for a penalty. It was just it was too tempting of a lure to take a shot at the quarterback unnecessarily. No, that is a dude who definitely will not, has no intention of turning it off at any point.
He's a Scud missile. It's unbelievable. All right. Next tier is I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Oh.
Ooh. I know where this is going to go.
Jaguars, Vikings, Commanders, Bears, Panthers.
Yeah. I think the Vikings are the only ones that you can legitimately be disappointed in. I feel like
you can be disappointed in the Commanders.
Nope, not because I trust Bill and the Ilk. Bill and the Ilk told me that they were gonna regress, and they regressed just like they were supposed to. So, it's a disappointing season because of the injuries and the quarterback.
You can't tell me how to feel.
You weren't disappointed last week. You were happy. You're right back where you belong in sad Loserville.
Yeah, I'm a loser.
We're setting up for an emergency Domonique Foxworth show tomorrow night when the Commanders upset the Chiefs.
God, yeah, we definitely have to record something if that happens.
If that happens, we will record something.
Yeah, the Bears also, there's the expectations for the Bears. I drank the Kool-Aid preseason again and was high on the Bears, and they have gone for a pretty good run, but it's been a pretty underwhelming run of 4 wins in a row and losing to the Lamar-less Ravens today. And it's not even that they lost, it's that the quarterback looked like the progress that we were expecting. Of course, he's young, and I know progress is not linear, blah, 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 blah. But there's some things that just, the clock management.
It's situational football.
Yeah, that stuff, and it's a tough scene for people. We had Jason Goff on earlier in the week, and he's a full believer in Caleb, and the evidence isn't there on the field consistently enough yet.
Charlie, is there any team in this group where if I told you they defied your tiers and were up 3 tiers by the end of the season, is there any one of those teams you feel like actually has enough juice in it?
Again, it's the Jaguars, Vikings, Commanders, Bears, and Panthers. Who could potentially climb? It's just Jaden if he gets healthy.
But no, even it's too far.
The Vikings? It's the Vikings?
No, it's not the Vikings.
It's not the Jags.
It's not the
Panthers. It's not the Bears.
It's none of them.
So you play the game, Charlie. You see these cameras? The cameras are because we're doing the show.
Charlie, passing you the ball. Here, you're open.
So you have to choose. You have to choose one. You have to choose one. Bill, do you have an answer?
Of course I got an answer.
Okay, give it
Come
to
on.
me, Bill. Oh, I forgot that you were.
I knew you were going to say the Jags.
The Jags have an awesome defense.
Trevor Lawrence.
And,
God.
And Charlie choked in the moment and is now mad at me because he doesn't like my
the public defenders here. Trevor Lawrence's public defenders.
Why you? I mean,
I showed up.
Public
my
defender,
suit looks great.
Public defender feels. I mean,
I'm
it feels like
at all.
Feels like a slight. Feels like a slight.
The high-priced defense attorney.
Yeah. Defense attorney, not public defender. Like,
thank you.
Public defender
I've got a
always,
billboard.
Yeah.
I've got a billboard. I have a phone number that's all 1s or 4s or 7s, and I don't know how they got them, but they have that number.
1-800-Duval.
The last 4 digits are cash. I like it. Call me.
This offense is a mess.
Yeah.
Because they can't line up right. They have illegal shifts. They have delayed games. They're sloppy. Their timeouts are poor. If they clean that up, they're going to be fine. They don't play a tough division. They don't play a hard schedule. I think they have more upside than any of those other teams, including the Vikings, who I'm out. Like, I know the defense can play great for a week or two.
Yeah.
I just don't. I've seen enough. I'm don't regret saying they were going to regress.
Yeah.
Like a little sneaky brag. I like how you work that in there.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, sure.
Tactical. All right.
We did say the Colts were going to decline this year. We can move on though.
The Jags will maybe be a couple. I don't know.
But problem with my preseason, I picked the Colts as like a surprise climbing team. The problem with that is I do get up twice a week, every week with Jeff Saturday, and he did not pick them. He was down on the Colts, but somehow this wonderful young man gets to claim the Colts all season long. We get in there, and everyone's like, "Hey, Jeff, good one with the Colts." Like, I said they were going to be 7-1.
Wait, hold on. You're upset that Jeff Saturday gets congratulated on the Colts.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't like it.
The best Jeff.
This
is how it comes down.
Top Jeff. You can't remember it as Top Jeff, not Best Jeff. Best Jeff is, there's no wordplay. I thought you were a writer.
If the Ravens weren't 5-2, people would be congratulating you, Domonique. Oh, great year! Sorry, 2-5. 2-5.
Wait for that.
What a fumble!
Wait for that Ravens wild card win over the Jaguars. Dominique's going to be walking into the studio, people patting them on the back. Oh, man, it's going to be great.
I don't want them pats.
I have to admit, that line was texted to me and I read it backwards.
Too many cups.
That's tough. No, that tier's perfect. The Jaguars belong there, Bill. Sorry.
All right.
Next tier, we can speed through the last two.
Bill thinks they belong there too, by the way. I know he does. He doesn't believe in the Jags. Yeah, he doesn't.
This tier's called They're Not Totally Irredeemable. They might have like one thing that you kind of like. The Bengals, Giants, Cardinals, and Falcons.
I actually think the Giants in this particular tier.
Darty time.
Like, I mean, I actually feel like of these teams, I bring this up often. It's like how you feel when you walk in the building on Monday morning. Of these teams, only one of them feels good when they walk in the building Monday morning, and I think it's the Giants. I understand that like the injuries are an issue, and I mean that aside, but just about the trajectory of things, because the Giants this season was about, can we find a quarterback and can we save some jobs? It feels like they are on path to save some jobs and find a quarterback. For the rest of these teams in this tier, this season was not about that. This season was not like, can we just show some level of competence? This season was about making the playoffs and making a run for a championship. And all of these teams, you walking into their building feeling real sad. I mean, the Bengals lost to the Jets. The Jets.
Yeah. They gave up 39 points to Justin Fields, whose own owner was trashing him before the game.
It was bad.
I mean, I like Jackson Dart a lot. I like Cam Scottibo a lot. I'm really bummed he's injured.
Yeah.
This has got to be like the best vibe 2-6 team in NFL history, though, right? Like, this team lost to the Saints. They got blown out by the Eagles. They blew a 99% win expectancy to the Broncos, and Bo Nix couldn't hit the broadside of a barn for 3 quarters. Like, at some point, the vibes have to wear off, and we just have to see this team for what it is. I don't know that they're on pace to save any jobs right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could be right. I think they are. If you had to put odds on it, I think they're more likely to keep the guy who found them a quarterback and rather than move on from him, unless things go completely off the rails.
Hold on.
What?
The idea of like finding them a quarterback, like he was a scout, going to
it doesn't matter.
High school games. They just drafted a guy in the first round.
Bill, I get what you're saying.
I could do that.
But it does not matter. If you are the head coach and the general manager who find a quarterback, it's hard to do. I get it. You're right. It was in the first round. And if they had a higher pick, they might have picked someone else. They had number one pick. They might have picked Caleb and been wrong and been all out. I understand that it's all, to some degree, it's random. But what is not random is how people react to a quarterback showing up. And Jackson Dart, even in this game, like he made a couple of throws that were so impressive. Sure. Like it feels pretty clear to me that I don't know how high Jackson Dart is going to be, but it feels pretty clear that he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. You find one of those and your contract is about to expire, they're going to extend it unless you really blow it. That tends to be the case. So I think you're right. Maybe that's the wrong way to go about it, but that's the way that things happen. And I assume that if they keep losing, of course, the locker, the building's going to be a lot sadder. But I think right now they're still on a high of feeling like we got a guy.
So if Jackson Dart plays this way the rest of the year and they finish 4-13, 5-12, you think Daboll and Shane come back?
Yes.
Okay.
Not
saying you're wrong. I
think so.
Do you think the Titans should have kept Brian Callahan then?
No.
They found his franchise QB.
Yeah, it hasn't been nearly the same. Nice try. Did somebody text you that one too?
Yeah.
I think, of course, it depends on how it works out. Like if Daboll mismanages the rest of the season, but Jackson Dart is like running around, scrambling, getting hit a lot, and they're still like competitive, that's a different story.
Whoa, my friend. This was the first week Jackson Dart did not have to leave the game to get an injury check for 4 quarters. We need to raise the banner at Giant Stadium.
I mean, I do think that because the quarterback development feels like such a black box, if you have a coach and a quarterback that shows some glimmer of promise, you're staying. It's just the way that it normally works. Whether it's right or wrong, it's the way that it normally works. Congratulations to Brian Daboll for getting that contract extension that's inevitably coming at the end of this season.
This is a tough show for Domonique. I'm really starting.
How's it a tough show? Huh?
Just really starting to feel bad. Everything.
I don't understand. It's a good take.
The last tier, they're totally irredeemable. It's the Saints, Raiders, Titans, Jets, and Dolphins.
It's a good week for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
They had a good week.
Tua's wearing a Snuggie press conference.
And we started, maybe not you, but some people made the mistake of starting to take the Falcons seriously. And
that was me.
That's me too. Their defense. I was like, the defense could be good.
Yeah. And Tua and the Dolphins. I mean, it's a big win for them because I feel like we were having conversations about them giving up and quitting and all that nonsense. They bounced back and played really well and dominated a team that I think people thought or expected to be a lot better than they are now, even without Penix. They had Cousins out there.
The worst thing happened to Kirk Cousins. He had to play. Oh. If Kirk Cousins had just not played all year, you would have had people being like, oh, remember early last year he threw for 500 yards. He had an injury. He's still Kirk Cousins, man. Kirk Cousins had to play, and he didn't play good. He played like the worst defense in football, and you saw what happened. Every day have Drake London. That sucks. Yeah. I'm sure they wanted Drake London in the game plan, but there was like a long stretch where he didn't complete a single pass to a wide receiver in this game. It was pretty rough if you were someone who thought Kirk Cousins might be a starter in 2026.
I mean, this is the second year after the Achilles, right? So that's like things are supposed to be a lot better than they were last year, but I guess it's just one game.
Just want to point out, Charlie, since we've been doing the show, the Green Bay Packers, who you don't believe in, are now up 10 points on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And I said I thought they were going to win the game by 4. Damn, I was off.
Well, you're not off yet. You're probably still going to end up with them winning the game by 4.
I love Tucker Kraft. That dude's awesome. He has 150. Don't say it, Dominique. He has
That's nothing to say. Nothing to say. I love Tucker Kraft also.
You just looked at me. I knew what you were going to say.
It's small town. He's from a small town. It's very cute. Every time he's on a primetime game, we're reminded that he's from a very tiny town with one stoplight, and he owns a bar there. I like Tucker Kraft. He's awesome.
Really good player. Currently has 143 yards and 2 touchdowns.
You also, I feel obligated. It feels like everyone brings up National Tight Ends Day. Like, I feel
last week was National Running Back. What are we doing?
I mean, didn't Kittle started National Tight Ends Day like in 2017 or something like that? And now everyone else is jealous and they want their own national day. But like, tight ends did ball today. Do they always ball on National Tight Ends Day? They kind of do.
They do. Yeah.
Well, need a National Charlie's Day.
I think every time we do a Tiers episode, that's kind of National Charlie.
Honestly,
Charlie gets to put himself out there.
I had one day. It was January 18th, 2024, when the Commanders beat the brakes off the Lions. That was a winner for one day.
Well, you're a winner in my eyes. You too, Bill. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to all the great producers. Hand up. Did you have a question? Or you're just waving?
I was just saying thank you. I was waving to the ilk, just letting them know I see them. I believe in them. We're together here on the Packers bandwagon. Don't worry if you feel like the brakes are broken. We don't need them. We're just going to go faster, baby. Come on.
All right. Shout out to the Bilk. Throw your hands up. This has been the Domonique Foxworth Show, brought to you by Allstate. Bye, everybody. We out.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.